Want to do a product review of BleggMints. I have two different kinds. I have the lights on the ground here, but I'm wearing the OG originals. These are made of a 3mm wetsuit material, neoprene, whatever you want to call it. They're very flexible. See my wrists, not losing any dexterity at all. These things, I will tell you what, they will keep your hands and your fingers to the very tips warm, and actually probably overheat your hands, and your hands will actually probably start to sweat in the winter if you're going to use these at all. These are basically an OCR, obstacle course racing standard tool. These have been around for years now. I bought them maybe 3 years ago. I've used them ever since, and I'm very grateful to have found them. You can only find these in like 1 or 2 places in the United States that sells them. They were designed by a woman in Australia who did OCR. She came up with the concept, and I'm very grateful for her. She's a very prominent and dominant woman in the sport. And you see a lot of the top tier athletes wearing these at different obstacle course races. So you know they work if the elites are using these as well. So for starters, right here, you see where your hands pop out at. For me, you got about 1 inch overlap to your hand. So let's just say this is where your fingers are up in here, and you want to take your hands out. You actually don't need your other hand to do that. Just curl your fingers down. They'll grab that lip, as you see here. So this is my fingers in the mitt. Just curl them down. They'll be over this lip. So once you curl them down, bam, there's your hand. Now you got use of your hand. We'll just show them real quick. There you go. That's all there is to it. These are a little bit high now. Well, lower on my hands than they normally would be because I got a hoodie on. But you could easily access your hands very quickly. So if you're using these in OCR, as you're coming up to an obstacle, bam, there you go, your hand's out. Meanwhile, your hands staying warm and toasty while you're running between the different obstacles. Or maybe there's a line in an obstacle, maybe there's a little bit of backup, so you don't need to put your hand out right away. So you're just keeping them in here, keeping them nice and toasty. The old school ones got Velcro. We can tighten it around your wrist a little bit more, keep them tighter, keep the water and stuff out, mud, if you are doing an OCR. Plus the old school G's, they got, see this? You know what this is? It's for your watch. So no matter what hand you put it on, well, you only got one, so you have to decide which hand you're going to put it on. This flap here is made to be so you can see your watch face. So if you're running a race, or if you just want to know what time it is, just pull the Velcro, your watch face pops out right there. So you're like, oh, 10 miles into my training run or 5 miles into an OCR race, there you go, I can see the distance, or just see what time of day it is. Or maybe if you're just one of those people that have notifications come to your phone, you feel your phone vibrate, oh, who was that? Very awesome design. I will say for these, I wear these in the winter months, maybe some late fall, early spring, when the temperatures drop below, we'll say 50 degrees, 40 degrees. It doesn't matter what the conditions are. If it's like -10, I've worn them where it's been, I think like -3 or 4. And these actually like kept my hands so warm and toasty, my fingers actually started sweating. So you do have to watch that a little bit, that your hands don't sweat too much, because then the ice will build up. I've had these build up some ice. What's cool about these things right here, I don't know if you can see them real quick. Got little like air pockets or drainage holes. These are basically drainage holes that they thought of for OCR. So if you're going in like a dunk pond or something like that, going into any like water obstacle, the water, you know what I mean, like a slip wall or something like that. Either way, whatever the case may be, you're actually going to get your hands submerged. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This actually allows the water to run out for the most part. You're still going to get a little bit in there because they're not watertight. They're not made to be watertight, obviously, with this flap. They're just supposed to keep your hands warm so you're being able to use like your fingers when you actually get to an obstacle course obstacle. These were designed for obstacle course racing, not necessarily running, but I use them for just everyday training as well, because in those winter months when the temperatures do dip in like the low teens or even like 0 degrees Fahrenheit, these will keep my hands a lot warmer. And in fact, they will actually make my hands so wet, as I said before already, start to sweat. Because around the wrist, since they go around the wrist, if you heat your wrist up, it's going to heat your hand up a lot quicker. So this material is like two functions in one. It's going to actually keep your body and your core warmer, because it's going to make your wrist feel a lot warmer because of the material. It's going to keep your hands warmer. So I've actually, in the middle of winter, when those temperatures are in the teens or below, I've actually, after a while, taken my hands out and ran with them like this the rest of the way. So like once it starts sweating, we'll say like 3 miles into a training run, get a little hot, get a little sweaty, my hands actually come out of these things because the wrist itself keeps my body, and that wrist area is so warm, like the heat actually radiates up through my palm and my fingertips. Now obviously I do have to bring them in on occasion just to like warm them up, but most of the part, once my hands get warmed up and that wrist area gets warm and I use these for a while, my hands are actually out in those teens and single digit temperatures. Just be careful, because if you sweat a lot in the winter and you're wearing these, you might get some ice build up from like the drainage holes. Again, there's some drainage holes here, so when you get submerged in the water, it drains the water out, and ice will build up in there, or your sweat as you're running. You know, everything is like drip down. So if you're wearing like a long sleeve shirt and doing a training run, you know how you like the sweat just goes down to your wrist area. Well, it's going to go down into the BleggMit. It's going to end up coming out the drainage holes and then freezing if it's really cold. So be cognizant of that. Just maybe once in a while wipe that off so it doesn't actually freeze, and allows you to keep draining. But it's the same thing with the other side. The only difference is the old school ones doesn't have the watch compartment. But again, they're easily switchable depending on which side you wear your watch, your left hand or your right handed. The only difference is if you're right handed, if you wear your watch on your right hand, the holes are going to be up in the air. So if you wear your watch on your left hand, they're actually made a little bit better for people who wear their watch on the left hand, because the drainage holes are only on one side of the BleggMits, and if you're wearing your watch on your left hand, your left wrist, the holes are going to be down facing the ground. So we'll just say this is my left wrist, even though I twisted it. The holes are now actually up in the air, so it's not going to drain as much liquid out. So you have to be cognizant of that. That's why the drain holes are there. They're not on both sides, but whatever. That's the only downfall in the design of this. I'm sure maybe an updated version will have drain holes on both sides, but it's not really necessary, because I see most people wear the watch on the left-hand side of the body. But give you a quick preview of the other ones. These are the lights. These are like a 1.55 millimeter neoprene. It's the same thing. Wearing these just look like a regular mitten. Bam, there's my hand. The lights, actually probably wear the lights a lot more than I do the 3 millimeters, just because the lights function the same way. They really do keep my core, my wrist warm and my hand, and the heat. I'm telling you, if you ever wore a wetsuit, you know once you start warming your body up, it does really heat your body up pretty good. So my hands do come out a lot, and even the lights. I generally wear these probably down to the teens, and then that's when I switched to the OGs. But they're the same design. Yeah, you got the 3 little drainage holes here. And I'll tell you what, when you do sweat, or you do any kind of water obstacle, these do drain the water out pretty good. So you don't have to worry about that. The only difference with the lights, there is no watch strap, but they're not as long, at least in my opinion. So I just end up flipping it up if I want to look at my watch. So, and just in comparison real quick, see a little bit of a size difference. Not really nothing, maybe an inch here. Whereas a 3mm, it would be a little bit harder to fold it up per se than the lights. So if you wanted to look at your watch, but so be it. They're, we'll say these are pretty durable. I've worn these, I don't know how many times now, doing different OCR races. We'll say like a dozen or so, because I generally run OCRs in the summer months, but like say Tough Mudder 12 hours, these things are a game changer. I've worn these for like 12-hour Tough Mudders overnight, and I've had these for years. And you see, where's the damage? I don't see any damage on these at all. I mean, there's a little bit of wear and tear, but you don't see like no rips. So I mean, unless you scratch them on like a barbed wire, or you drag them through rocks, these are going to hold up pretty well. And I know they say the hand wash, I've thrown these in my washer and dryer probably 100 times now, so the seams still hold up. They don't ruin them. I try to get them out of the washer and not throw them in the dryer, but if I forget, they still go through the dryer. But for the most part, I just let them hang and air dry. So think about that. What I do is actually fold them inside out, because I figured with the material on the outside, it's like cleans a lot easier than the material on the inside. And I figured I would rather have my hands cleaner, not, you know, getting all that sweat built up and gunk and mud and dirt and whatever bacteria that can build up inside. So I always either fold them inside out, or at the very minimum, the lip where your fingers go, I just fold it up like that. So like just the hand part goes inside out. And I think with my washer, makes these things pretty clean just on one cycle. Other than that, not much to it. As you see, like this, I have this one pretty much set up for my watch. This is my watch hand side. So like my watch there, so it just usually like pops out very easily. So if you're getting the OCR, like obstacle course racing, these are one of those things that you should pick up. It's going to keep your hands warmer. It's going to allow you to grip stuff a lot easier. Coming to an obstacle, be able to not worry about digging gloves or putting gloves away or losing a glove during a race, because these actually like stay on you. So if you actually use normal gloves, where you're going to put them in between obstacles, you know, you're going to put them in your pocket, then you're going to lose one, then you're not going to have them the rest of the race. So with these, there's your hand. So when you're done with the obstacle, there you go. You don't have to worry about putting them on, taking them off, putting them in your pocket, losing them, so be it. They're just right there at your disposal. What else? Oh, they don't take up a lot of room. So if you're packing them for a race, look at that. It's like the size of a fist, if that. If you're OGs, these fit inside my fist. They're very lightweight as well, so there's really no weight to them if you're flying to a race. But personally, I use them more for training runs in the winter than anything over gloves, because what happens is when you're doing a training run in winter, your hands start to get sweaty. What do you have to do? Take your gloves off, put them somewhere, or if you just continue to wear them, your hands are going to get all sweaty, wrinkly, just makes you feel miserable during a run or a race in the winter. So that's why I wear these, so I can like cool myself down if I get too hot and I don't have to worry about fumbling around, losing them. So check them out. They're called BleggMit, BleggMit. Again, they're hard to find in the United States. I think only like one person sells them, maybe two. But you can find them online. It just might take a little bit because they come from Australia. And they're, what are they, like $40? I don't know, between 35 and like $55, I think. But they're worth every penny. And I've had these for years, and they're still going strong. So check them out. Hope you like them.